Welcome, one and all, and thank you once again for joining us here on the only way to spend your Saturday with Johnny Torch on Johnny Torch Live. Johnny Torch Live number 124 today, and we bring you Torch News Roundup number 115. Yeah, here we are, first time since our Stan Lee tribute video, which if you haven't seen that, please check that out because that was a very, a very moving demonstration of our feelings towards Stan the Man Lee. So be sure and check that out. But today we are going to tackle all the topics that came out in the past week or so. This is our Thanksgiving show, our Thanksgiving edition. And we here at Johnny Torch Live are very thankful indeed. Be sure to give thanks. And we'll talk about that more a little bit later. I want to leave you on a profound note. But for now, we are going to talk about, first off, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon comics. Yes, as you see, the icon in the middle of the screen right there is the cover of our latest issue, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye Casebook 4, Street of Dreams, where we have the nefarious team-up of Carrot Top and Pencil Neck, Bullets Bourbon's chief arch rivals. Carrot Top being a dastardly criminal mastermind, and Pencil Neck is a cunning but lunatic serial killer. And Bullets Bourbon, of course, is tasked with bringing both of them to justice by a secret government agency in this issue, in this exciting story. It's a three-part story arc. The storyline, the entire story arc, the three-issue arc is going to be under the title When the Night Comes. Yes, doing right by Joe Cocker, as it seems, but we are spelling night with a K, which is sort of in tribute to sort of Michael Knight and, the thought of knight in shining armor, which of course leads to the subplot being that Bullets Bourbon is enamored with the starlet Desiree Miller, whom he's working with in this undercover operation, and he is going to be undercover in disguise for most of this second part of the story, which we are going to bring to you today live as a special little treat here, a little Thanksgiving treat before you get your cranberry sauce and sweet potatoes out here. We're going to get you the cover of The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye number 5. This is going to be a very special edition. Call all the friends and neighbors, and you can check out what the cover of issue 5 is going to look like. It's the first cover that doesn't feature Bullets Bourbon in costume, so to speak, in his usual uniform with the gray trench coat and fedora. But it's going to depict a very exciting action sequence that is in the middle of this issue, in the middle of the story. The first issue is 16 pages. I believe the third issue in the story arc is going to be also 16 pages. This is a double-sized issue. This is where all the fun and action takes place. Of course, we get the final confrontation in the third issue, but without further ado, here we are, the debut of Bullets Bourbon issue 5, the cover. And this issue is titled One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Miller. And of course, it's in reference to Desiree Miller, who is the leading lady, as we see here on the cover. And Bullets Bourbon, of course, there in black, as he is undercover. And Scotch, of course, if you've read the second and third issues, you will realize that he is Bullets' rival. He's another private eye, but he's a rival from Ragatown, which is sort of a seedy and unreputable part of Stark City, which Bullets Bourbon protects and does his heroics. And of course, we still have to the side there Carrot Top, Pencil Neck, and Pickle Puss, Carrot Top's main lackey, as they continue their threat to national security. Of course, we have some of Pencil Neck's minions there, so to speak, taking chase after Bullets Bourbon and Desiree there on these gondolier type little apparati that I dreamed up. Of course, these are this actually is quite literally dreamt up. I have to say these apparatus that they are flying on. I woke up, and very rarely do I get inspired to write anything from a dream or anything. But I kind of woke up and was in a sort of semi dreamlike state, and I had this vision of Bullets, Bourbon, and Desiree on these, gondolier type mechanisms that are they're supposedly used to lower equipment and machinery down to the missile, the Eraserhead missile, which is the main MacGuffin of the story. And I had a dream sort of like that. This sequence just sprung fully formed in my imagination from waking up, and I immediately took to paper and pencil and got it down as best as I could figure it out. But yeah, it has to have some kind of proper application to the story. So I had to figure out why they would be using these big apparatus in the middle of this missile bay. But it's all in fun. It's all in fun. It's just to bring a sort of Indiana Jones style chase scene to the proceedings. So there you go. Once again, The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye, coming to you soon. Casebook 5. And to give a little update on this, I'm in the middle of proofreading it right now. And as I continue to get the checking all the I'm painstakingly checking every word. I'm painstakingly checking words that are at least 5 letters long and longer. I'm going to spell check them anyway, even though I know how to spell them, just to make sure that there's no spelling errors. Because the last couple of issues, I try diligently all the time to make sure there's no spelling errors, because it kind of feels unprofessional. You have a spelling error, but it really didn't happen. I really didn't get 100% accuracy on that. But this time, I'm painstakingly checking every word, so it's going to take me a little bit longer to make sure that this is done properly. But trust me, I will see to it and do my due diligence this time to make sure there is no spelling or grammatical errors. Sometimes it's just as difficult not only to have a word misspelled, but to have a word missing. Like, you're going to say, "I'm going in the room," and it'll say, "I'm going room," because you'll forget a couple of words while you're typing it out. So anyway, yeah, very excited about this, and probably after Thanksgiving we are going to get this in the hands of the editor, my editor, who um, resizes it for me and makes sure it's print ready. So this is the very first look at the cover of The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye, issue number 5 of When the Night Comes, the second part of that 3-act storyline. This is Act 2, and the issue itself is titled One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Miller. Oh, yes, George Thorogood and the Destroyers have inspired me. And yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments below. And once I get the book out to print, I will put up some more pages for preview. I always put at least 2 pages up. You don't want to show the whole book. I mean, that's my philosophy on it anyway. Is you got to show like some meat and potatoes. You got to get a hook for people to be interested. But if I was to show 4, 5, 6 pages out of a 26-page book, you probably will have seen the most important stuff. You can't just show this stuff out of context and expect people to say, well, that's great. I want people to be able to read it in context and see, just exactly how the hero got to where he is, and setting him up for where he's going in the next chapter in Act 3. So check out my link in the description below. You can find my website there, The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon Comics. You can check out the free preview that I have up already for the last issue that we've done, episode 4, which is titled Street of Dreams. And you will also find my Twitter page in the link in the description below, as well as on my website, where you can check out all the fun and shenanigans that I get up to on a regular basis. All right, before we get to the news items at hand, we've got some more business to attend to with the website, with the Twitter page. We have a poll of the week question here, and the poll is in regards to Stan the Man Lee. The question: what do you think will be the last cameo Stan Lee filmed before his passing? Now, you can take this any number of ways. Is it the last cameo that he filmed? Is it the last cameo we're ever going to see? That was, something that he filmed live. Not just obviously, like I said in the other video, that, we'll probably still get cameos of him as a picture in a frame or a newspaper article or something like that. But what do you think was the last cameo that he filmed that we're going to see? So the options are the three Marvel films that are in production: Captain Marvel, Avengers 4, and Spider-Man Far From Home. But there's also a fourth option, which is something farther away. In other words, a film not yet officially in production, but perhaps they pulled Stan aside while he was on set for something else and said, look, we're doing Doctor Strange 2 or Black Panther 2, and we want to film a cameo of you now before, we actually get the whole production underway. That could be a possibility as well. I think Kevin Feige even hinted at that, saying Stan liked surprises, and there would probably be some surprises in the Marvel movies for the foreseeable future that regard Stan Lee. So head on over to my Twitter page, and you can check out this poll. You got 4 days left if you are listening to this now on Saturday, the 17th of November. And let's see, there is 116 votes, which I thank you very much. That's one of my more popular polls. If they get to be over 100 votes, usually they will, linger around a much lower poll count. But in fourth place with 3% of the vote, Captain Marvel. A lot of people think that will not be his final cameo. In third place with 10% of the vote, Something Farther Away, a film not officially in production, which kind of surprises me because I think that he does have a few more cameos that have been pre-recorded, to be inserted in. Because if I remember correctly, they got filmed. Now, don't hold me to this, but I believe it was Civil War, Guardians 2, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, I believe, were all recorded at about the same time. They just pulled him aside and had him film those. So I'm guessing that the same thing happened, again for his next round of cameos. But was it only Captain Marvel, Avengers 4, Spider-Man, or was there 2 or 3 others into it? I'm not sure. In second place, now this is interesting because they've been duking it out for the past 2 days, and originally Avengers 4 was with a solid lead, but Avengers 4 falls to second place now with 43% of the vote. And in first place with 44% of the vote, Spider-Man Far From Home. The Spider-Man Far From Home movie has overtaken Avengers 4 as what is possibly the last Stan Lee cameo that will be featured in the MCU. I don't know. They already said that X-Men Dark Phoenix will not feature a Stan Lee cameo. I don't know if there's anything else that is a movie outside the MCU that might involve Stan Lee, because we had, of course, Venom, which is a Sony project, and that had a Stan Lee cameo as well. Fox doesn't have anything besides Dark Phoenix in the works, I believe. I mean, they might still have New Mutants, but I think that film is wrapped, and probably they would have said if they had a cameo. But again, go to my Twitter page in the link in the description below. You can check it out. Vote for the last cameo you believe Stan Lee filmed, and we will move on now to the news at hand. Okay. First up, a story that broke yesterday. Let's see. And okay, don't be impatient. Here we go. Let's see. Yeah, Lenny. we have our Lex Luthor cast for the Supergirl series. And it is going to be Jon Cryer, who portrayed, famously or infamously, if you prefer, portrayed Lenny Luthor in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, which I like that film. I don't care what anybody says, I like that film. Superman 3, I was never a big fan of it, even though, it had its moments. You should check out, I actually did a video of Superman 3, a review, before my, video making capabilities started collapsing on me and I didn't have the right equipment and software to do it, which I'm still looking into. Didn't manage to do a Halloween video this year. I'm very disappointed about that, but we'll try to get into that as, time permits, because, I've got the books to do. I can't spend a whole lot of time learning a new scenario on how to, edit videos and stuff again. If I can find a good clean copy of Windows Live Movie Maker, I'll do it. But the problem is I can't find a good copy of that doesn't put in a bunch of junk and task bars and all kinds of add-on crap. I haven't been able to find that yet. So, if you can point me in the right direction, let me know by all means in the comments below. But anyway, we have news that Jon Cryer is making some fans cry because he's going to portray Lex Luthor. I did a funny post on Twitter of, you know, you can't go wrong with the Denzel Washington gif, and it just sort of sum up what I think fandom is thinking and experiencing right now. But in all honesty, I'm going to give Jon Cryer a chance because if nothing else, the Supergirl writers have proven themselves to be slavishly, worshiping the Donner Superman. So if Cryer is going to portray a Gene Hackman-esque Lex Luthor, I'm going to be very happy with that because I am very fond of the Hackman Lex Luthor. Because all intents and purposes, you would think that Jon Cryer would be playing a Jesse Eisenberg-esque Luthor. I don't think they're that off the reservation, the Supergirl writers. I mean, they're SJWs and they do all kinds of crap, and this season has been no exception. If anything, they doubled down on the SJW crap, but I don't see them going after a Jesse Eisenberg-style Lex Luthor. So I'm holding out hope. Maybe we'll get a Gene Hackman-style Luthor, and a character that's kind of humorous in the presentation, but still sinister deep inside. As I've always said, some people try to think of Hackman's Luthor, as sort of a camp performance, but when he's doing stuff like shoving a detective, a homicide detective into a moving train, and joking about the things he's doing, like he gets his kicks from causing the death of innocent people. That's kind of dark, you know what I mean? In this day and age, when we have, you know, people biting other people's heads off and stuff, that we don't see Hackman's Luthor for as dark as he really was. We take him for granted, but he was a dark character with the trappings of a, you know, sort of a maniacal mastermind. It's a very deeper character than people give him credit for. Okay, so let's take a look at the I think this is Comic Book News website has got an article here. The CW confirmed that Lex Luthor will be coming to Supergirl this season, with Jon Cryer making his debut as the character in episode 15, which will debut in 2019. While fans of the series share their excitement at the Two and a Half Men, see, again, garbage tier, I have to add in a word. At the Two and a Half Men actor embracing the villain, they don't have the word actor there, I'll put it in. Cryer himself, along with the show's executive producers, seem equally as excited. We are enormous fans of Jon Cryer, and he was instantly our dream actor to play the iconic role of Lex Luthor. Executive producers Robert Rovner and Jessica Qualler shared in a statement. Jon is a super talent, and the fact that he played Lenny Luthor in Superman 4 brings an added layer of legacy to his casting. We're beyond thrilled to welcome Jon to the Supergirl family. They added, we're beyond excited to introduce iconic villain Lex Luthor to Supergirl and to weave him into our story this season. We've talked about having Lex on the show since its inception, and we're excited to have him finally arrive. We can't wait for him to shake things up in National City and watch him go toe-to-toe, not only with Supergirl, but his sister Lena Luthor, Katie McGrath. So, yeah, this is exciting because, particularly this season, the problem is they're bringing him in so late. I don't like it the way they did it last season, where they brought in Supergirl's mom and Argo City in the last 4 episodes of the season, and it feels like they're doing this here. Everything's going to come to a head with this Agent Liberty bull crap, and we'll pull in Lex Luthor at the end to try to punch it up instead of bringing him in early, getting us acclimated to the character, getting something going with him, and seeing it fall apart, or however the hero's going to defeat him. But instead of just throwing him in last minute. But yeah, it's kind of a must-have. You must have Lex Luthor in here if we're going to have Lena Luthor in so prominently in this show. So I'm holding out hope. And, I think, it's funny. He started as Lenny Luthor, a nephew of Lex Luthor, and now he's grown into Lex Luthor. So, hey, I can't fault them for thinking that casting. And, of course, we've got Lenny, Jon Cryer is bald now, shaving his head. So we already know what he looks like, bald. If they just give him that humorous yet dark streak, I'll be happy. And there's so much they could do with the character since they've already built up Mercy and Otis and Miss Tessmacher's on the show, even though she's playing sort of a bumbling secretary, which I don't really see why they did that, because Miss Tessmacher was anything if not bumbling. She wasn't an airhead. That's what kind of was cool about the characters, because kind of back in the day, that's what you did. You had the bumbling female bimbo sidekick. That's why I made that joke about Superman 3. That's what they did with what was her name, Lorelei. But Miss Tessmacher was not like that, and they kind of make her sort of like a bumbling, ditzy secretary in this show. I would like to see her be sort of a, kind of posh girlfriend for Luthor. And I don't know if that could still happen, but we'll see. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about Jon Cryer as Lex Luthor. Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think you'll find yourself crying over Cryer? Okay, I got to admit I'm a little tired today. That's why I think my mouth is not reacting to the sentences I'm trying to speak. But next up, we have some more interesting news in the world of television, superhero television, which is only part of the service we provide here at Johnny Torch Live. Let's see. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been greenlit for a 7th season. Yes, you didn't hear me wrong. Season 6 has not yet aired, but they have greenlit a 7th season. Now, hold on. I know what you're thinking. The 6th season is said to be a sort of summer hiatus show. They were concerned that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ratings have not really improved much from the beginning. I mean, the show never garnered huge ratings. It has a very loyal fan base, but the ratings really aren't there. So they said, let's take the show in half, 13 episodes, and air it over the summer, and we're going to, make the fans happy, but still not give you a full season. Now, with this announcement that there's a 7th season, and they're standing behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is this a full 7th season? Is this adding on to the 6th season so that we're going to kind of go straight from the 6th season into season 7, thus giving us basically a full season? No idea. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Also, and pardon me for a sip of water, we don't know the status of Clark Gregg and his role in the show ever since Phil Coulson was alleged to have met his maker at the end of season 5. We don't know for a fact because all signs were pointing to him dying, but we didn't see the body. There's always a chance when you don't see the body. Let's see. According to this article here from Variety, I think it is, ABC has renewed Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a 7th season. The move comes just 6 months after the superhero drama was picked up for a 6th season, which is yet to premiere. The series stars Ming-Na Wen as Agent Melinda May, Chloe Bennett as Daisy Johnson, Ian D. Casticker as Agent Leo Fitz, Elizabeth Henstridge as Agent Gemma Simmons, Henry Simmons as Agent Alfonso Mac Mackenzie, and Natalie Cordova Buckley as Elena Yo-Yo Rodriguez. Co-created by Joss Whedon, Jed Whedon, Marissa Tachurin, and Jeffrey Bell, Jeff Loeb, and Jim Chory as producers. The series is produced by ABC Studios. Not listed by ABC for season 7 is Clark Gregg, who starred as Agent Phil Coulson throughout the series. So they're not tipping their hand here whether Coulson's going to be in it. But come on, let's be honest here now. Clark Gregg needs to be in it. I mean, a series without an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series without Phil Coulson is not a show I'm terribly interested in. I mean, they could throw in all the bells and whistles by putting in Ghost Rider and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. I mean, he's the heart and soul. He's the glue. He's the glue. And I think Clark Gregg is not done with the role either. They just had him in Captain Marvel. So I'm hoping that this means they're going to sort of ramp up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and sort of inject some new life into it, because the last season I think was one of its best seasons, but it was a downer that they were continually hyping up the death of Coulson. I don't want to see the death of Coulson. I want to see the second, a renewed vigor, the second wind of Coulson, as it were, and see what he's going to do going forward, particularly since, we don't know what's going to happen with Avengers 4. We don't know what's going to happen. And how is that going to tie to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Are they going to be, turned to dust? Some of them anyway? I don't know. We won't know. Let's see. ABC is also developing a Marvel project with Wonder Woman scribe Alan Heinberg that will focus on female superheroes. What? What is this? That project, which has received a production commitment at the network, has received a production commitment. Again, I get tongue-tied and stuff, but that is the way it's written. Garbage tier. Let me read that again just to prove that's what it says. That project, which has received a production commitment at the network, has received a production commitment. ABC previously aired the Marvel shows Agent Carter and The Inhumans, both of which have since been canceled. Disappointing. I can't understand how they don't have a proofreader here. I talk about how I proofread my comics. And anybody that wants to criticize me, I defy you. Go to any of these major media outlets and see that they don't have the worst spelling, the worst grammatical errors, the worst consistency to the storyline, the narrative of the subject. It's terrible. It's terrible. All right, back to the article. Back to this terrible garbage tier article. There has been much speculation about whether or not any Marvel shows would land at DC. At ABC. That one's on me. Given the fact that Disney is preparing to launch its own streaming service next year, as Variety exclusively reported, Marvel's in early development on a multiple limited series that would focus on characters featured in the Marvel Cinematic Universe like Loki and Scarlet Witch. Okay, so yeah, this is exciting, isn't it? That we're going to have more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's all that matters. I hope, of course, that they're going to have Phil Coulson in a prominent role. Chloe Bennett has also taken to Twitter to show Quake's new look for the season. She's going blonde, apparently. And yeah, I like it. That's a good looking costume there. It's the gauntlets, of course. I don't really think blonde is Chloe Bennett's best look, to be totally honest with you. I like her better as a dark-haired a ravenette, so to speak. I don't really think necessarily that it has to be black hair, because I think the first few seasons, I think when she was just with brown hair, auburn, that's when she looked her best. Trying to take it really, really dark really wasn't, that much of an improvement, but it was okay. And the blonde looks, I don't know. She's gonna have some purple streaks, I guess. Is that what that means? I can't really tell if that's the costume or her hair. Yeah, that's her hair. You could tell a little bit near her ear, I guess. Over there is where the purple streaks are beginning. But yeah, Very excited about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 6, and that will be coming our way sometime in the summer, so we've got ourselves a long wait. But while we're waiting, we have more news. Yes, we have more news. We are going to be talking about, what is it? Let me refer to my notes first, because I'm doing them as usual backwards. Alrighty, we got the Birds of Prey film doing some casting, and they've cast the role of Cassandra Cain. And as was rumored, young actress. This is going to be a young Cassandra Cain before she becomes Batgirl, or at least the the second Batgirl, is she, or the third? I don't know. I don't know. I still want to see a Barbara Gordon movie. I want to see Barbara Gordon show up in a Batman movie or something like that, to that effect. They have not used Batgirl, the Barbara Gordon version, at all, really, in live action. It's just disappointing to me. But the actress here is a young newcomer. Ella J. Basco will fill the role of Cassandra Cain, who in the comics is the daughter of a pair of assassins and is deprived of speech and human contact as a child as part of her assassin training. At some point down the road, she befriends Bruce Wayne and becomes Batgirl. And while Warner Brothers is developing a Batgirl movie, it's unclear if that film would also star Basco, as the moniker has been filled by different characters over the years. Well, I think not. I think not, right? I mean, you know, let's be honest, Basco is a child here. I don't think you're gonna have a Batgirl movie starring her. She's a cute kid, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna sell. The Birds of Prey movie, spurred on by actress producer Margot Robbie. Let's see. Film has amassed an impressive cast that includes Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, Journey Smollett Bell as Black Canary, Rosie Perez as Gotham City Detective Renee Montoya, and Ewan McGregor recently signing on to play the villain Black Mask. Let's see. The Birds of Prey story finds the aforementioned female characters teamed up to protect Cain when she comes across a diamond that belongs to Black Mask, who is Kingpin in Gotham City's criminal underworld. Diamond, that's the MacGuffin. That's all that. That's why she needs a bunch of superheroes to protect her. Aha. When James Gunn signed on to write Suicide Squad 2 from scratch, essentially rebooting the property, it was revealed that previous director Gavin O'Connor left Suicide Squad 2 when he discovered the story he pitched was too similar to the one being used for Birds of Prey. They say that, arguably, or reportedly, that his was first and his story was stolen. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. We can reasonably assume that previous iteration of Suicide Squad 2 would have found the squad protecting someone important. Basco is a true newcomer with only single episodes of shows like Veep and Grey's Anatomy under her belt, but she's in line with what director Kathy Yen was looking for in the character, a preteen or teen of Asian descent. The film is being crafted with an R rating in mind, which I am completely against and do not like. I'm also against the race changing of Black Canary, which I think, once again, not to get on my soapbox, is, again, it's just, oh, diversity casting. It's a diversity hire. Why can't we get an actress that looks like Black Canary to play Black Canary? Again, this is not rocket science here. There are other actors and there are other characters that can fill those a diversity hire. You don't need to change an existing character. This is something that infuriates me when they do it. Um, as I said, you're going to put Harley Quinn into a Birds of Prey movie. If you want to have a diverse, uh, character in the movie, then get Vixen or some other character that'll fit that diversity role. You don't really need to worry about it if that character fits in the Birds of Prey when we already have. Basically, who's the Birds of Prey here from the comics? We've got Black Canary, who was race changed, and we've got Huntress. We don't have Barbara Gordon. We don't have I think there's another character, isn't there, that alternates with Birds of Prey, but it hasn't been this great comic accurate presentation as of yet. I don't see how they could have done it differently and it would have been much better. I don't know. We'll see. Moving along here, let's see. We've got casting news still for The Mandalorian. Yes, that's right. The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau's new show. And in this corner, the Count of Monte Fisto, the Master of Disaster. What other monikers did he have? I think they had about half a dozen of them in Rocky 4. I can't remember the rest of them, but yeah, I'm really glad to hear this. We have Apollo Creed himself, Carl Weathers, joining the cast of The Mandalorian. Yeah, Carl Weathers really deserves, another great role because he's great as Apollo Creed, but he really hasn't done much since then, like in the last 10 years or so. So, no word yet on who his character is or who he's going to be playing, but apparently, yeah, no word on his character. But there's a lot of things under wraps here for The Mandalorian. Just getting the casting trickling in and some of the directors. But yeah, what do you think about this? Apollo Creed playing a Mandalorian. Is he going to play a bounty hunter? Is he going to play a? I don't know. This is set after Return of the Jedi. He could be still a Rebel Alliance character as they're setting up a New Republic. This will be interesting. I don't know, but let me know what you think. Who do you think will Carl Weathers be playing in The Mandalorian? Also, we have, let's see, Gina Carano. Gina Carano has been cast also in The Mandalorian. Let's see. Carano is the MMA star turned actress who starred in Steven Soderbergh's Haywire and appeared in Fast and Furious 6 and Deadpool. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with her, but I've seen her, I think, in some of that Deadpool. Again, nobody knows who she's playing, but it's kind of exciting, kind of interesting to theorize who she's going to be playing. Is she going to be playing a bounty hunter, a tough guy bounty hunter, to be sure? Again, your guess is as good as mine, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Gina Carano, who is she going to be playing? Is she going to be playing a villain? Is she going to be playing a bounty hunter? We don't really know anything about the show, so I don't know if this is going to focus on the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars universe, like the original Stanley, George Lucas. Boy, I should have took a nap before this show. I'm realizing it more and more now. I woke up. Let me just explain myself. I got to go off on a rant. I woke up in the middle of the night with the smoke detectors going off, and the beepers it was just a big thing. I couldn't figure out which of the smoke detectors was beeping, and I had to go looking around the house to see which one is beeping. I pick one up, I see if it's going off. No, it's not the one. I got to find out. Then the situation handled. Go back to bed. There's a blackout. The power's out, so I have to go deal with that and everything. So bear with me. Bear with me if I am making some fall and not sounding quite as professional as I should, okay? All right, wait a minute. See, there's another mistake right there. Wrong image being shared. Let's see. We've got the most important bit of casting, which is, let's see, Pedro Pascal, who is being touted as the lead actor. The lead actor. Now, what the heck does that mean? I don't know. Is he the Mandalorian? Is he under that costume, under that mask? A lot of people still think that perhaps it's going to be a woman. Maybe that's Gina Carano. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a man. But I like I said, I think it's probably going to revolve around Boba Fett in some capacity. Now, I don't know if it will be Boba Fett or it's going to be, like I said, one of those kind of pretenders to the throne thing where he's going to kind of pass himself off as as Boba Fett. But yeah, all right. So let's see. Pedro Pascal, best known for his roles on HBO's Game of Thrones and Netflix Narcos, will star in the new live-action Star Wars series The Mandalorian, Variety reports. There's no word yet on who exactly Pascal will be playing, but according to Variety, he will be the show's lead. Now, again, not necessarily does that mean he's in the costume. Maybe he's another gangster or a bounty hunter that's going after the Mandalorian. We don't know. I mean, it could be. And what I would like to have happen, to be totally honest with you, I would like that we never see the Mandalorian's face. That was part of the charm of Boba Fett in the beginning. You had the man with no name. So either, if my hopes are correct and this is Boba Fett, Pascal will be playing somebody else. But even if it's not Boba Fett, I would hope that they make this the man with no name and that we don't ever see him under the mask. Not every single masked character has to take their mask off and be completely unmysterious for the duration of the series. You know what I mean? It's like they did with Kylo Ren. They took off the mask. That's not something that Star Wars was known for. It was always about men in masks, and you didn't know who they were. And if you're lucky enough to see who they were, it was at the very end of the whole saga, and that's that. Boba Fett, we never saw him under the mask. Drag racing outside my window again. And we found out what Boba Fett looks like from Jango Fett, because of course he's a clone, so we know that Boba Fett looked like Jango Fett. But even that, the mystery was never touched. I mean, he could look like Scarface for all we know, Boba Fett underneath that Mandalorian armor. All right, so again, here is the synopsis of the show. Let's see. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. So, there you go. Take that for what you will. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the show any more than anyone else. But let me know what you think about the casting of Pedro Pascal. What do you think about The Mandalorian in general? Who do you think Pascal will be playing? Will he be playing The Mandalorian in question? And I think they talked about that gun that he's holding in the back there, the back of his where the backpack would be if he had a rocket pack. That's the same gun. It was made to look exactly like the gun from Star Wars Holiday Special, where the cartoon segment where he had a gun that looked like that with a weird tuning fork looking gun. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below about The Mandalorian. And okay, now here we go. We've got our top story of the night. This is our story of the night. Of the night. Let me hear the rhythm of the night. Oh, I'm really tired. I gotta go lay down someplace. Okay, so we've got Dan Aykroyd yet again beating the drum for Ghostbusters 3. And to boot, he thinks he can get Bill Murray to finally participate in some manner. As we all know, unfortunately, Egon Spengler, Harold Ramis has passed on at this point, so it's only ever going to be the 3 Ghostbusters, if even that, because Bill Murray has been hesitant to return to the Ghostbuster franchise, even though he's done some spoofs, dressing up as Peter Venkman, doing certain things. But, Bill Murray's a pretentious fill in the blank. I mean, he just doesn't want to come back. He doesn't want to, I don't know, one would argue sully the memory of the Ghostbusters, but I don't really understand why it's so difficult for them to get a Ghostbusters movie off the ground. Now, I'm kind of making fun of it, and, the thumbnail especially, Dan Aykroyd thinks he's going to have another Ghostbusters movie with Bill Murray. But the fact is, they really do need to make this a priority, because the stank that was on Ghostbusters 16 is pungent, and it's really going to make people think of that whenever they think of Ghostbusters. They're going to think of a failed SJW Ghostbusters. We need to cleanse the palate from that. We need to get the original Ghostbusters back. Now, this isn't a difficult thing to do. I already gave my pitch for Ghostbusters 3. You can look that up in one of the prior videos. I think it was the one, I think it might have been the one where I did my Black Widow movie pitch. But you can check that out and see if you can find it. That's probably the one it's in. But it's very simple. You just have a new young group of scientists finding out about paranormal activities that are going on. They come to Ray, who, brings in Winston. They school these young kids, whatever they are. They're not even going to be that young in my version. I said I would cast Zachary Levi in the Ray type role, because he's sort of like, he can also play a man child, kind of the way Dan Aykroyd did. Chris Pratt in sort of the Bill Murray-esque role. Kevin Hart in the Winston role. He would be like the nephew of Winston or something. And Emma Stone in the Egon role, where she's sort of brought in as a secretary, and then she surprises everybody by being sort of the most intelligent one of the group. That's the way I would do it. That's my take on a Ghostbusters 3. And then you have, of course, the Bill Murray cameo, if he's willing to come and do some actual scenes. Otherwise, what the joke has always been is that he'll only come back if he can play a ghost. And well, that can be done as well. But you have the Bill Murray cameo. You have Ray as sort of the, given the science and historical, mythological exposition about the ghosts that are affecting 2019. And then you have Winston again performing the duties of the everyman, sort of looking at it the way the young Ghostbusters are looking at it, as sort of, through the everyman view. And and you'll have the same kind of slapstick stuff as you did from the original series, the original two movies, but with the younger cast sort of adapting to being Ghostbusters and stuff. It sounds like it's a no-brainer to me. They even didn't they do a cartoon a few years back, which was, well, a few years back, we're probably talking late 90s now. Was called Ghostbusters something. I can't remember what. But I remember they had like a goth chick, they had a guy in a wheelchair, they had a guy that was like Latino. I think, what was the last Ghostbuster? He was black, I think. I don't know, but they had like, it seems like you could really honestly just take that concept and just make it in live action. Of course, in that show, I think it was mostly about Egon and Ray, which would be, of course, it makes sense, because not only did Aykroyd and Ramis create the characters and the storylines, but they were the most knowledgeable about, Tobin's Spirit Guide and all that stuff that they were up on. So it would make sense that they would train the next group of Ghostbusters. All right, so let's get to the article. This is from the Dan Rather report or something. I don't know. Let's see. Aykroyd appeared on the big interview with Dan Rather. This is from We Got You Covered, by the way. So I want to give them some credit, because I follow them. Aykroyd indicated that things might finally be moving forward with the threequel. There is a possibility of a reunion with the three remaining Ghostbusters, says Aykroyd. It's being written right now. Sidebar. Now, where have I heard that before, Dan? Where have I heard that before? Haven't I been hearing that since, I think, 1993? Like 3 years after Ghostbusters 2 came out, and you were thinking about the next Ghostbusters movie, and Bill Murray wouldn't do it. And they wouldn't greenlight it. The studio wouldn't greenlight it unless Bill Murray did it. And for some reason, we still can't get the kinks worked out to get Bill in as a cameo. I don't know what is Dan Aykroyd expecting is going to be any different this time. You're going to make me pull out my hair. I don't understand. What do you think is going to be different this time, Dan? What is going to be different? You can write these scripts till you're blue in the face, and you could drop them off at Bill Murray's front door with a bow, with a ribbon, and he ain't going to do it. And I don't know. There's some rumors that maybe the film can't be made without Murray's approval. Even if he don't play an active part in the role, he has to sign off on it. And he just don't want to sign off on it, because I think he's afraid it's going to sort of tarnish the Ghostbusters legacy. But then again, he not only signed off on Ghostbusters 16, he made a cameo, I think. I never seen the movie, so I'm not sure. So that's why I don't think that goes. Should the old Ghostbusters be reuniting, they'd be doing so minus their founding member, Harold Ramis, who passed away back in 2014. With that in mind, the presence of Murray seems to be a deciding factor on whether this idea will ever make it out of the starting gate, though Aykroyd remains optimistic that he'll come around in the end. I think Billy will come. The story's so good, even if he plays a ghost. Well, that's pretty much what he said. The only way he'll come back. While speaking on the big interview with Dan Rather, the man fans know as Ray Stans agreed with Ratner's wording that he was talking about making a full-blown third Ghostbusters. With an unknown writer already working on the script. Obviously, Aykroyd wouldn't let. I see. I'm so used to thinking this is garbage tier that I thought that there was going to be a mistake somewhere there. I'm reading it too slow, really. But let me try that again. The man fans know as Ray Stantz agreed with Ratner's wording that he was talking about making a full-blown third Ghostbusters with an unknown writer already currently working on the script. Obviously, Aykroyd wouldn't let on to anything about the story details, but he did tease that it'll try and recapture what worked so well about the original films while giving it a 21st century twist. I think we got a story that's going to work. It's being written by a really good filmmaker. Can't say the names, but they're a good team. They're making an effort to bring back all the spirit and the emotion of the first two movies, and then take it into the 21st century with a vernacular that's needed today to get it crossed. To get it across. I don't know if that's really good grammar either, but that's what it says. So, yeah, again, in this day and age, I don't see how you can't do a Ghostbusters 3. You've got so many people at this point that have been raised on Ghostbusters. I saw Ghostbusters when I was a kid. It's a whole generation of folks that are raised on Ghostbusters. I don't see how you can't find the right talented writers who will bring the spark to it of what the original Ghostbusters films were. I mean, it sounds to me like they're not even. He's not even alluding to this being sort of a next generation Ghostbusters movie. Sounds to me like it's just going to be the remaining members of the cast. Now, again, this might be Dan Aykroyd whistling in the dark or something. I don't know. Uh, I do feel for him though, because he's been trying to get this off the ground for a long time, and I personally would have liked to see a Ghostbusters 3, 25 years ago, but I don't know. I mean, it could still work today. Like I said, I even had a script that I would write that script and make that film, and it would work today. But I don't know that, is he putting too much on this? I mean, I don't want to say that he is, because I mean, this is his baby, really. I mean, this is what he's going to be known for. I mean, basically all the actors in the Ghostbusters movies, particularly all of them. I mean, maybe not Bill Murray as much, because Bill Murray, he's sort of a personality on his own, and he's done other things, Caddyshack, and what about Bob, and the list goes on and on that he, uh, down the line. But for the rest of the cast, they pretty much are known for Ghostbusters and nothing else. I mean, that's not to say they never did anything else, you know, of merit. But and I think that Dan Aykroyd is being really protective of his legacy. This is his legacy character. This is his legacy role. So when he was talking about things like, we want to have a Ghostbusters franchise where with a Ghostbusters universe where there's all Ghostbuster projects going on one after another at the same time, and they're going to meet up and there'll be crossovers and that. I mean, he's just, I don't want to say he's looking at it with the, rose-colored glasses or whatever they say, but he's sort of, you know, he's got to just get the one thing done, which is get this movie off the ground. I mean, that's the only thing. Then worry about if we can turn this into a big franchise or anything. And so far, they haven't been able to get out the starting gate. And, I'm just hoping that, like I said, if for no other reason, to get the stank off the brand name Ghostbusters. And I think that's the reason why the studio will greenlight something. I think they tried their shot. They took their shot with an SJW Ghostbusters. Didn't go over well. Nobody liked it. See, the thing is Ghostbusters is as much about the personalities as it is about the concept. You can't tell me that you can just stick anybody in a proton pack and have a Ghostbusters movie. That's not really what it's all about. It's about the personalities of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Howard Ramis, Ernie Hudson. That's what really makes those movies, those characters. And so to sort of just think that you can blithely put in another personality, the personalities have to match up pretty well. And that's why I said I think it would be very important for at least the characters of Venkman and Stans to be represented in the next generation very closely to the counterparts of Murray and Aykroyd. All right, so let me know what you think. Does this ever stand a chance of seeing the light of day? Oh, another thing, the Ghostbusters video game, which I have and I enjoy that one a lot. That's essentially, a lot of fans say that's Ghostbusters 3, really. I mean, that was a story that, had they tweaked it a little bit, should have been a great Ghostbusters 3. But the storyline just was used for the video game, and obviously they're not going to go back to that and try to redo it, but we went back to Walter Peck and a lot of cool stuff. And it also begs the question about Rick Moranis. They could very easily fit Rick Moranis into making him a fourth Ghostbuster. If you have to have four Ghostbusters, you put him in the fourth Ghostbuster slot, because at the end of Ghostbusters 2, he allegedly became a Ghostbuster, and Rick Moranis is semi-retired. I think he's made overtures that he's going to come back to acting. I don't know that he really has. I've never seen him in anything since then, but he has taken off like about, I don't know, 20 years from acting, I think, since his wife died, if I remember correctly, and then he um for all intents retired. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you want to see Ghostbusters 3? Do you think we will ever see Ghostbusters 3? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I don't know. You got to look at it from all angles, and I don't know. I still think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think you should try to take the stink off of Ghostbusters from Ghostbusters 16. The best way to do that would be to sort of, and how many properties have done that? Where they've re-energized the property by putting on people that love the original property, and reinventing it sort of for the next generation. I think that's what Aykroyd's been trying to do, and he hasn't been able to do it. But if he can do it, that would really, I think, re-energize the franchise. Okay, so here we go. Once again, the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on Johnny Torch Live. We brought you all the news that is fit for public consumption. And I want to remind you to smash that like button. Smash it, I say. I'm pointing my finger at you. You know who you are. Smash that like button and subscribe if you've yet to subscribe, if you're so inclined. If you're a good person, a nice person, wants to do something for me, for for the goodness of your heart. And I want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. Be thankful for all you have. If you have your health, be thankful for it. If you have a family together, be thankful for it. If you have material needs, food on the table, roof over your head, be thankful for it. And most importantly, be thankful for Jesus Christ, who is truly the greatest gift from God to us. And when you have Jesus Christ, you have everything. And it really doesn't matter, who you are, your age, your status, your race, or anything. All that matters is giving thanks to God for what He's given us, and He's given us so much. We honestly don't know how privileged we are that Christ came into our lives and made such a difference for us. And if you don't know Jesus Christ, I would just ask that you open up your Bible, take a look, start reading it, start with the New Testament, and ask questions. That's the name of the game. If you don't understand something, just ask. And hey, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And you know, let us converse, as they say. So once again, from everyone here at Johnny Torch Live, happy Thanksgiving. God bless you, and remember, until next we meet, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.